So, Brian, I have a very important question for you.
Yes.
How do you get to the monster's house?
Through the mines.
No. You walk down the street and then turn right at the dead end.
I'm gonna fucking hang you. That's how I'm looking at my microphone as if it's you right now, and I'm about to throttle it.
Well, with that said, hello and welcome to the worst of Classic Who series. We are here with fellow Yank Brian
Monster of
Corrigan.
Peladon is hardly the worst of Classic Who.
It was on the original cut of the list, so it's been there from the start. It's the only John Pertwee story I haven't seen on TV yet, so I am looking forward to completing that. This will be the second classic Doctor I've seen all of, because I've already seen all of Hartnell. I'm also looking forward to watching this story because I've heard mixed things about it. But before we dive into all that goodness...
Why is this the last one for you?
Well, I have already seen Planet of the Spiders. And I was saving all of the ones that were on the list for when I did them for my channel, when I originally went through Pertwee's era. And obviously because of this thing I'm doing on Twitter with the marathon, I'm going through the worst of in chronological order, rather than the shuffle order, which is what I used to do with this series. And I hadn't actually seen Monster yet, so that's why this is the last one.
Connor, I'm gonna be honest with you because you can't see me right now. I'm doing a bunch of filthy shit on my camera.
Okay.
Because I don't typically do these types of videos, so I'm just having fun with it.
Go ahead. Anyway, so remember to leave a comment for us to defend a New Who episode against Hellbent. That's what we do at the end of these videos. And we've done a whole bunch already, but there's still many more we can do. Just leave a paragraph as to why you think it could be considered worse than it, and we will attempt to defend it. We already have a locked list of all the stories we're doing in this series. Here they are here. And we're currently doing them in chronological order as per my marathon. And then once all of that is green, it'll unlock at the bottom. There's Dimensions in Time, which will be the finale of this series, which is going to be interesting. But yeah, Monster of Peladon. I know you really like this story, Brian. I know you're in the minority on that.
I am in a minority on that. I don't know why people are so mean about it. I really like it. I think it's a lot of fun.
Well, what I can say is that I know people don't like it because they don't like six-parters, but I love six-parters, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. And on top of that, I absolutely adore Curse of Peladon, and also I love the other Ice Warrior stories before that too.
Well, it's not like Curse of Peladon.
Okay, but just saying, I love Ice Warriors, I love Seeds of Death, and Curse of Peladon's one of my favourite John Pertwee stories, so there's a good track record there. Having said that, I'm not the biggest fan of the Moffat era Ice Warriors episodes, but I think that doesn't really count in this regard. It's not really the same thing.
I like Empress of Mars.
Yeah, I like Empress of Mars, but I don't love it. It's decent. But Cold War, I just... forgettable.
Joey, you're a cunt. Anytime I see an Ice Warrior that has hips like booty... Wait a minute. Hips like booty? I fucked up the joke. I'll tell it later. Hips like dynamite and booty like pow. It's gonna have your name on it, buddy.
Hips like Lord Slav, booty like Peladon.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I am intrigued to watch this. Anything you want to say before we begin this reaction, Brian Corrigan?
I do want to warn you, because I think this is where, at least in my opinion, because nobody's actually told me why they don't like Monster of Peladon. I think it's because they're expecting it to be like Curse of Peladon, and it isn't entirely like that. So whereas Curse of Peladon is sort of a political thriller with a murder mystery. This one sort of just goes for like a B movie murder mystery vibe.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't take itself nearly as seriously as Curse does.
I don't want to sound pretentious or anything, but would you say an apt description would be Curse of Peladon is like the Delgado of the stories, whereas this is more like an Anthony Ainley? Is that
That's actually like that's a pretty good comparison. I wouldn't say it's like quite that far removed from the first story, but like yes. It's sort of along those lines.
I'm watching off the Monster of Peladon DVD that I got in the Peladon Tales box set like 4 years ago.
Oh, hell yeah.
I happen to have all the damn DVDs because I am a collector.
Oh, well, aren't you special?
Yeah. I don't have the Blu-rays though because I don't have enough money for those, but maybe someday I'll get the standard ones.
I've been collecting the Blu-rays because I don't have the DVDs.
Have you been collecting the UK limited edition, or have you been getting like the Terra?
No, mainly because that shit's just not. It's not really worth it for me. Like, ooh, cool artwork that I could easily just see online anyway.
Yeah, I mean it's got a cool like fold out in the middle though. But I don't know, those Yank ones are rough, man.
Yeah, I would have started collecting the UK standard releases instead if they had come out earlier, because they actually have the appropriate season numbers on them.
Yes.
Instead of being like Tom Baker season 1, Peter Davison season 2.
Yeah, I hate that. Honestly, I hate that so much. Oh dear, yeah. It's terrible. Because some of the guests do this. Don't spoil the story for me as it's happening. Because I don't know what happens in it. I don't want to be spoiled.
Connor, I've seen this story twice. Both times I was really fucking tired.
Okay.
I remember about as much as you do.
But you really like it despite not remembering it?
Yes.
So you remember how it makes you feel, but you don't remember what happens?
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Well, actually, that's a lie. I do remember bits of it, and they are important bits of it. But I'm not gonna. I'm not shitty enough to just
Yeah, because like when I did the Crotons with Will Maddox, he was like spoiling shit left and right. I'm like, stop! Are you ready to start part 1?
Mm-hmm. Pickled in time, like a cock in Will Maddox's ass. Oh, by the way, viewers, I promise this is not alcohol. This is
we're back.
This is cheerwine, a drink that is typically found in the southern states of the United States of America.
So is that the spirit of Agador? They said.
Yes, that is the spirit of Agador.
Okay.
Oh yeah, this man dummy thick. If the Ice Warriors are Joey, this man is Jacob.
I like these haircuts. Sonic Lance.
Not the same Sonic Lance that Colin Baker has. It's bigger. Oh.
Me and Bowie thought it looked like a giant dick.
My green penis friend. How could I forget you? I love Alpha Centauri. I am like the only person on the planet who loves Alpha Centauri to bits.
I love Alpha Centauri.
Really? I think most people find Alpha Centauri annoying.
I love Alpha Centauri.
I think Alpha Centauri is hilarious. That's the only reason I love him.
So is she the daughter of David Troughton's character?
Yes, she is. Joey would peg him on the spot. Like if John Pertwee landed in like within the vicinity of Joey in the TARDIS, Joey would pin him up against a wall and just start making a lot of love to him.
That shit looks tasty. Like, it looks like a spearmint.
I like Sarah's jacket a lot. Now, Connor, just because I'm curious, out of these three standing here, who do you think is going to be the problem character that isn't the priest?
I don't know. The odd one out, maybe? Ooh. I like that. I can already see what you mean by B movie.
Yeah, it's a lot more tongue in cheek than the first story. The first story sort of took itself really seriously, and this one just does not at all. But personally, I'm more a fan of this type of thing than the type of stuff that Curse of Peladon does, which is really controversial.
What's this room? Oh.
The Temple of Agador.
Hmm. They've refinished it.
Doesn't look very lovable to me.
I don't know what you're talking about, Sarah. I'd fuck that thing in a heartbeat.
I like how, because the Doctor's kind of a useless time traveler, he doesn't realize that King Peladon's not there.
I am Ultron, High Priest and Chancellor.
Ultron?
I'm sorry, did you just say Ultron? Because that's not what he said.
Okay.
It's because I have subtitles on. It's spelled O-R-T, well, O-R-Tron, basically.
Your Majesty.
The nerve of this motherfucker!
I love how this, like, cute little thing is a fucking politician of like a planet.
They are pronouncing the or in his name really weirdly.
Peladon, Age of Ultron.
Connor, what do you think? Do you think there will be fighting?
Possibly. It is a six-parter after all.
Because based on what that guy's saying, I'm starting to think there's going to be fighting. I'm ready for John Pertwee to start karate chopping people in the dick, you know what I'm saying?
You know, based on those clothings, I think Sarah Jane might be a top. Don't you think? Don't you think?
I don't even know how to respond to that one. Don't you just want to sniff Gebek's hair?
It's it looks like a dessert. Like a
It looks like a marble cake. I want to eat his hair. It looks like it's vanilla chocolatey goodness.
I love how they kept the aesthetic of this almost exactly the same as Curse. It makes it feel familiar to me.
Yeah, you don't really get that a lot with Doctor Who stories that take place on the same planet. Every time you go to Skaro, it's not the same at all. I still have cheerwine left. I thought I was out. Those doors do not look like they're made of wood.
They look like they're made of chocolate. Or steak.
Steak?
Like burnt steak.
They're jerky.
Jerky
doors. Yes. Yes, that's exactly what I'm doing.
I'm sorry.
Oh, she hurt Alpha Centauri's feelings. You better be sorry, you fucking K-pop standing bitch. I missed that. I didn't notice that before. He punches them, and just goes, "Ah, fuck, shit."
Whoa! Oh! Whoa!
Why does his screaming sound like a cat?
Okay, well that was a lot of fun. That that flew by, I'd say. There's a different conflict now. It's I think the dynamic is a bit different because obviously Sarah Jane is a very different character to Joe Grant, and so the way she gets
Right.
involved in the story is very different. Like with Joe, it was more so she was playing a false role to try not to get into trouble, and then ended up intertwined in everything. Whereas here, Sarah Jane isn't doing any of that. She's just being brutally honest. She's like, I will not be treated like this.
Yeah, what my thought immediately after watching this for the first time was, okay, I'm like immediately more interested because I watched both Peladon stories back to back.
Okay.
So I watched the first part of Monster and I was like, okay, I'm immediately more intrigued by this than I was by Curse.
Why do you think that is?
The stories I like to be serious are also stories that are like really, really bleak. And I wouldn't call Curse of Peladon particularly bleak. It's a serious story, but it's not like depressing.
Yeah, it's not really depressing, it's more intriguing, and the emotional beats aren't bleak, they're more personal, I'd say. Like, you think about the bit at the end with King Peladon, it's much more, it's more about, like, complex sentiment rather than something like, you know, Doctor and the Silurians, for example, where the ending is very bleak.
If it's not, like, so bleak to the point that there are bits of it that are depressing me, but also, like, it's not a very fun story either, I find myself getting bored really easily by it, whereas Monster of Peladon is, like, the opposite of that.
I mean, I will say, like, on a craft level, it's not as, like, slick as Curse of Peladon. It's a lot more...
Objectively.
It's not as slick. It's more, There's definitely a pulp factor to this, but that doesn't make it bad. It's still enjoyable, but it definitely doesn't have the same air of craft, I think. But I'm not, and that's not necessarily a slight against it.
See,
it's just outlining the difference.
What I like is I like my stuff either really pulpy or rip your heart out sad. And Curse of Peladon is somewhere in between and not particularly my cup of tea, whereas this is really pulpy and is my cup of tea.
Yeah, it certainly is pulpy.
I really like this version of the title sequence.
It is cool. It's a little bit...
I think it's
a little, like, chaotic, but it's cool.
I think it's cooler than the Tom Baker version of it. I like that John Pertwee flies away and leaves a shape in the vortex.
I think the Tom one's a lot smoother, and that's probably why I prefer that one.
I've just developed a problem with this character. The spirit of Agador was appearing before the Holy Mountain was transgressed. So what makes you think blowing it up again will make Agador happy?
Good question. Anyway, back to the fun.
They cut out his ridiculous scream. Even Edis is like, "Ah, dickweeds. Better save this motherfucker."
Oh, is he gonna jump? Oh!
Aw, Alpha Centauri, I can't take you giving orders seriously at all. You're adorable. Plot twist. The Peladon miners are the Cybus Cybermen.
Yeah. But how you do that from beyond the grave?
Yes, but how can you do that from beyond the grave, Doctor?
But how you persuade the Confederation from beyond the grave?
Oh, the Doctor is really clever, as you can see. I don't know what it looks like when I do that voice. It probably looks really awful. I need to look. It's all so clever. Oh my. I look like Jabba the fucking Hutt.
Oh. You so clever, Solo? I like this music. Dudley Simpson has given us some sick beats here.
Dudley Simpson never gave anyone sick beats.
Dudley Simpson is a SoundCloud rapper.
I don't even want to think about how electronically farting rapping would sound.
Oh my god.
Always been the same, Doctor. Work and sleep, little else.
It sounds like Krista Eccleston's lines. You could fill your life with work and sleep, or you could go anywhere.
And I hope the world turns around and shits on you.
Armory doors are electronically controlled from communications.
John, your cock is really close to that fire, and it's making me nervous, bro.
He's about to be circumcised. How is that possible, Doctor? Fine, Sarah.
Why, yes, Sarah. I'm about to grill my sausage.
Imagine if this was a Tom Baker story.
Ah, Sarah.
It would be
about to grill my sausage.
It would be even more pulpy. It would be like, I need to speak to the Queen. Hello there. How are you, Queen? How are you? I'm the Doctor. Hello there. Hello, where the ice warriors? Hello.
It's a crime that Tom Baker never got to meet the Ice Warriors. Actually, what the fuck, Big Finish? Wait a minute. Yeah, the 6th Doctor's met the Ice Warriors. The only one that hasn't at this point is fucking 4. Where is 4's Ice Warrior story, you sacks of
David
shit?
Tennant's met the Ice Warriors.
Exactly. Even David Tennant has. What the
Yeah.
fuck?
It's cold vengeance,
Give Tom
Rose.
Baker an Ice Warrior story, you sacks of shit.
We need a scene where he says, Alpha Centauri, would you like a jelly baby?
Oh, Alpha Centauri, my dear chap. Please. Shh, calm down. I wonder what that could be. Probably Joey seeing if anybody else has a copy of Lung Barrow.
Well, actually.
Nah, that's Jacob, dude.
You just said lung barrow, so I thought of Jacob.
I don't think I've told you this, but when he said New Zealand and Australia are basically the same thing, and you replied, Timeless Children is basically Lung Barrow, I lost my shit so hard.
Yeah. I like how they've got like a goal to where they want to go and what they want to do, but on the way, there's all this great fun. Alpha Centauri's having a gay old panic.
What does Alpha Centauri always move like it's gonna piss its
Yeah,
pants?
I was gonna say that. I really need to go to the toilet, but I mustn't. There's so much going on.
Eggersley, I must go to the toilet. Yo, what the fuck is up with Agador's stomach?
Oh god, yeah.
He looks like he just has a giant scrotum.
Yeah.
Your Majesty, whatever your traditions, I beg you in the name of mercy to override them. Oh, I wish that I could, Ambassador.
For some reason, this scene is reminding me of the scene with Martha and Chantho, where Martha's like, no, just say something without saying your name. It's like this really adorable, like, breaking of rules.
Man, this story makes me sad about Alpha Centauri.
New doors are barred to the Queen.
Yo, Alpha Centauri blinks!
Yeah. Oh! I like that falling.
But yeah, it's a shame Alpha Centauri dies at the end of this.
Brian!
I hope you know, I'm just gonna start saying shit to throw you off. Like,
Why are you doing that? Why?
None of the things I'm going to say are going to come true.
But why? But why are you doing that to throw me off?
I don't know. Because I'm a dick. How long have you known me for? I'm a fucking prick.
So, what I have to say about part 2 is I couldn't concentrate on it because you kept on saying, the Doctor's gonna die! Alpha Centauri's gonna die! Anyway, but what I will say is that it's strangely fast-paced, isn't it?
Yes.
Like, curiously so.
Yes,
I was
it
like,
is.
what the hell?
I remember this just flying by. It's really good.
It did just fly by.
I like it.
It did just fly by, but it's like it's crazy because there's a lot, but there's also not a lot as well. Like there's not a lot of
So are you
important
seeing
things
why
that
I'm
have
confused? Are you seeing why I'm confused as to why people don't like this?
Well, I'm not sure because like there's not a lot of important things happening. Like the amount of important things happening are about as many as any other Doctor Who story. But at the same time, in terms of just things happening in general, there's a lot.
Yeah, so what the fuck is there not to like about this story?
Well, I suppose on an entertainment level, it is quite enjoyable. I just it's just curiously fast paced. I can't quite put my finger on what it is. Like it's almost completely unnecessary.
But that's like 90% of Doctor Who, and this one has a bad rap for I don't know why.
Anyway, we're only one third of the way.
It makes me angry because it's like it's it's not like a great Doctor Who story, but it's a good one.
Anyway, so now they're in the pit. We've gotten a bit more. I am starting to sense some of the because I know some people say this story copies certain things from Curse of Peladon. I am starting to sense a little bit of it. It's recontextualized. It is recontextualized, but there's certain scenes where I'm like, yeah, this is something that's lifted from Curse and slightly changed. Like the bit where Alpha Centauri went to see Queen Peladon. I was like, yeah, this. I'm pretty sure there's a scene exactly like this in Curse of Peladon. I mean, I really like Planet of the Daleks, and that has retreads in it.
Planet of the Daleks, as Nicholas Briggs has said, is like the Daleks' best hits collection.
Yeah. I actually quite like Planet of the Daleks.
I quite like Monster of Peladon.
Don't you like Planet of the Daleks as well, don't you?
Yeah, I do like Planet of the Daleks. I really like Planet of the Daleks.
I like anything that has Bernard Horsfall in it.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah,
him.
But that story has like the most Terry Nation thing I've ever seen, where he's like, "You're endangering the mission because, well, I love you, and I'm going to change my decision making now because you're here, Rebecca." And I'm like, that's such a Terry Nation like character bit, you know?
Yeah, but even then, I think that's shoplifted from the Daleks too.
Probably, yeah. Anyway, I mean, I'm enjoying the story, but I can't say it's like I can't say that a lot of what happens in it is actually that substantive, if that makes sense. Like
It's Doctor Who. It's not meant to be.
Well, I think you'll find a lot of it, more of it is substantive than you might think.
I mean, there is a political message in here, at some point. Like, I don't think it.
Oh yeah,
there
definitely is. Well, there definitely is a plot going on. It's just, it's very. It's
like
it's secondary to all of the pulp as well.
There is a big political allegory in this story that stretches across the entire thing. It's just, I don't think it quite works until you have the full picture.
Okay, well, I'm interested to see where it goes. But so far, it's been, like, mostly just fun.
That's why I like this.
Which I do like, there are stories I love for being mostly just fun, but in this particular case, in terms of the purpose that the fun moments do have and don't have, I think it's putting a little bit of a ceiling on it, but it's still good. But that being said, we've still got 4 more parts, so it could pick up. We could see a lot more.
Let us continue, me boy. I will say, I have fallen asleep to this story before.
Okay.
So if I just start snoring around like part 5, sorry.
I find that so funny how you're like adamantly defending Monster Peladon in videos, but then you're like, oh, actually, I have fallen asleep to it before.
It's because I watch it. The only times I watch it is when I'm like really fucking tired.
Okay.
So like right now, I just got off from like a long shift of work and came straight in to do this. And by the end of it, I'm gonna be snoring.
I thought you said you were going to be snorting.
Cocaine, motherfucker. Gonna do it through kazoo.
Anything to make the penile cancer get better.
Anything to make it hurt less. I'm gonna snort cocaine through kazoo whilst holding my dick in my hands
And watch the
listening to Johnny Cash's Hurt.
And watch the monster Peladon.
And watch the monster of Peladon all at once. Think about the sky, man, and have some wine. Oh, that cheeky wanker. So you know that thing you were saying about literally shoplifting scenes from Curse of Peladon?
Yeah.
In this case, I really don't care because I like this scene in both stories just because of John Pertwee's voice. Do you know, I just thought of another issue with this story. Why are they convinced that it's Agador doing all the bad things if that is literally Agador?
Spirit of Agador, I don't know.
But that is Agador. His spirit is there.
Maybe he's magic. Maybe he has magic
just fucking
powers.
teleports, man. I'm starting to realize why people have issues with this story. If Alpha Centauri is a cockhead, right? Does that mean Alpha Centauri's eyelids are foreskin? I think it does.
Never mind why they made you a queen. The fact is you are the queen, so just you jolly well let them know.
If this was happening now, Bolstrick would hate it.
Yes, he would.
I like how the Doctor recognized that Sarah would be good for that.
And this is where the political allegory is happening. At the time this came out, there was some strike going on, I think.
You will remain in the Citadel until my investigations into your background are complete. Come on, Ultron, get out of my way.
I love that nuance in Pertwee's performance, like the way he twitches.
Just John Pertwee is a good-ass actor, man.
Hell yeah.
Pompous old idiot.
What?
Sarah's a savage in this story. I really like the music in this story.
She wishes. Since she is only a female, her activities are of little importance.
Oh. Oh, ha, ha. Well, well, well. We have some conflict now.
She's gonna beat his ass is is what's gonna happen. She's gonna look at Ortron and be like, right, you remember what happened in that unmade Doctor Who story where Patrick Troughton bent Wendy Padbury over his knee? Get the fuck over my knee, Ortron, you sack of shit.
This is not prison in space.
Thalira just fucking beats him with a belt.
That'd be an interesting way to do feminism.
Well, if it's properly handled and at full power.
Like, it looks like James Buckley.
I too recognize the urgency in veiny cockman's voice.
I can see where this is going. Ah, you fool. Oh! Ooh! Aw. What a cunt.
Which one? The guard or the doctor?
Both. You sound like a car squeal. Elizabeth Slater makes the most interesting noises.
Oh my god! Quebec is wearing chaps.
Are they arseless chaps?
I mean, all chaps are assless. If he didn't have something on under them, his bare ass would definitely be showing. Gebek's man titties are what I live for. Wow, this is a really unflattering angle of me. I look like Boogie2988 right now. I just made it worse. Fuck. Viewers, look, I'm fat, but I'm not that fat, I promise.
Ooh, Ice Warriors.
That is a big-ass screw.
I found out the other day that in the entire of Classic Who, there's only 2.5 minutes of the Sonic Screwdriver. 2.5 minutes!
Now, how much is there in New Who?
23 minutes.
Christ.
And a third of all Sonic Screwdriver is Matt Smith.
Bruh.
Wibbly wobbly. It's gotta be the Ice Warriors, come on. It's gotta be the Ice Warriors.
I don't know, Richard. I think it's the Daleks. Conga line. Where are the lines for the next novel adaptation?
Of course it was the Ice Warriors. So they've appeared at the halfway point in the story. Oh well. I mean... what actually happened in that episode?
He got hips like dynamite and booty like pow.
So, like, they had the whole, like, Sarah encouraging Queen Peladon to, you know, become more proactive and feminist. And we see that in her next scene with whatever his face is. And then there's a lot of filler, and it's quite fun, but it's filler. They're in the pit at the start, and then they get let out, and then he gets put in prison, and then he gets let out again. Like, I mean,
Doctor Who.
I mean, as enjoyable as it is, I can't see how you can't say it's not filler, because it definitely is filler. Like, 100% it's filler.
The story itself?
No, this episode, like, episode 3, for the most part. Apart from the Sarah Jane feminist bit with her, Queen Peladon, and then the very end with the Ice Warrior, a lot of it is just kind of padding. But that doesn't mean it's not enjoyable. I do enjoy the story so far, but I do think this episode was a bit, like, unnecessary, don't you think?
I don't know. I think it acts as like a nice transition point in the story.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Although I think with six-parters, especially in Pertwee's era, part 3 tends to be the least important one. Because I think that's the similar case with the mutants as well. Maybe part 2, I'm not sure.
Is the mutant 6 parts?
Yes, it is 6 parts.
I thought it was 4. Shit.
No, it's 6. And then I think part 3 of the Time Monster is the same. It's like the least important of the 6. So that tends to be a thing. But now that the Ice Warriors are turned up, I'm really interested to see where that goes. Because obviously, in Curse of Peladon, it was revealed that the Ice Warriors' intentions were actually different to what was expected, and they were more on the Doctor's side and Joe's side than you'd think. So now I'm thinking, well, now that they're here, is the Doctor going to anticipate, well, last time I saw you, it was like that. Now is it different, or is it the same? Unfortunately, I have had a little bit of this story spoil for me in the sense that I know that the Ice Warriors are villains in this story. But I'm interested to see what the Doctor's reaction to them are.
I won't spoil the Doctor's reaction to it.
Yeah,
You'll get that soon.
I'm interested to see whether or not the Doctor thinks they are or not. That's the part I'm really intrigued to see. So we're already halfway. We're halfway through the Monster of Peladon. It's kind of a mess, but I like it.
You missed the deadline!
Oh, is this Lord Slar? Wait, did Lord Slar die in the Seeds of Death?
Yeah, he did.
I love the way the Ice Warriors look in this story. It's so glossy.
Look at his belt buckle.
Look at his cape.
A number of selected hostages will be executed each day.
Ooh, brutal.
There is no honor here.
This is the chaos that they were trying to avoid in Curse of Peladon, if you know what I mean.
See how things thematically stick together, even though this one is probably objectively shitter than Curse of Peladon.
Well, Curse of Peladon has a lot of tension because of them trying to avoid this happening. Whereas this is more like everything's blowing over and now it's turned to like war. Oh my god. That's very satisfying. And they all fall down.
Satisfying?
Yeah, like in a video game sense. I think that ice warrior that has the fucking massive eyes looks terrible, but the rest of them look great. Like, that one with the big orange eyes is so weird. The story's suddenly gotten really interesting now that the ice warriors are in it.
Huh?
Brian, I said this story has gotten interesting now the ice warriors are in it.
Oh, Connor, I promise I'm not falling asleep. I just realized this looks like a really shitty defense of this story because I'm falling asleep through it.
I'm enjoying it more than you are.
I just want to point out that I have fallen asleep during Remembrance of the Daleks. Connor, you're enjoying this less than I enjoyed it the first time I watched it. I was on the edge of my fucking seat the first time I watched it. The second time is when I fell asleep, like in the middle of it.
No, I really am enjoying it now, though. Like, this is much better now that the ice warriors are here.
Look at that thicky boy ice warrior.
I'm not just saying that for, like, because I like them. I'm saying, like, for actual substance reasons, they're actually making the plot really interesting.
I just like the Ice Warriors. The Ice Warriors are actually my favorite Doctor Who race of aliens.
Are you with me?
This is so cheesy. This is, like, so aggressively paced. It's crazy.
Do you see why I like it, though?
Yeah, I know. It's, like, supercharged.
And other people hate it. They think it's boring and slow.
It really isn't.
I've always been very keen on survival.
That's kind of ironic, him saying that before the next story.
That's a good point.
Bit of foreshadowing.
I love his outfit, by the way.
I like how it matches Alpha Centauri and the Ice Warriors.
I like how his outfit actually matches his outfit in the next story. Because it's like the same outfit, but the color is switched from green to blue.
This guy wants to end the Time War by destroying everyone. Ooh. Jeez, this guy's a psychopath.
We have a saying on Peladon. If you can't stand the heat, keep out of the mine.
If you can heat. Yes! Oh, dude. That line is so good.
Look, see what's going on down in the mines.
The shittest guard on the planet.
Ooh, I like that POV. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Let's go. Oh, headbutt to the groin. Oh, shit. Oh. Oh, that was a great cliffhanger. Hell yeah.
No, Etis. No!
What? Well, that story picked up. Oh my god.
Thoughts on episode 4?
Best one so far, I think. It's like I told you, as soon as the Ice Warriors came into the plot, it just suddenly got really interesting. And the stakes have been raised. Oh, that was good. I liked that a lot. Yeah, I would say that part has saved the story from going downhill. Now I'm really invested. I'm actually really invested in it. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, we'll see what part 5 and 6 do. But like, it started off really well in part 1, and then part 2 and 3, it was slowly slipping off a slope into just, like, vacuous territory, and then as soon as the Ice Warriors turned up and they added a twist to the plot, it just made it so much better. And now I'm really interested to see where it goes from here, so we're back on the right track.
I have pita bread.
Pita bread.
Pita capaldi bread. What type of sandwich you eating, Connor?
I'm not eating a sandwich at all.
Oh, what are you eating then?
Noodles. I like how the Sonic Lance is just a big fan.
It's got testicles.
It does.
Dude, pita bread and hummus fucking slaps.
I wish I had some bread for my noodles, actually. That'd be great.
Because this pita bread I'm eating is actually infused with, like, sweet onions. Put that together with roasted pine nut hummus. Fucking delicious.
I should have brought my sourdough bread.
Oh, fuck. I can't remember what English muffins are called. Actually, I think they're just called breakfast muffins over there.
What, crumpets?
That's what they are. I don't know, because crumpets are something different.
Mm.
I had this conversation with Dylan at some point, I think. I showed him what I was talking about when I said English muffins, and he was like, "Oh, yeah, that is indeed a breakfast muffin." And he was like, what do you guys call muffins then?"
Sometimes,
So I showed
like,
him.
cupcakes can be called muffins.
I showed him, like, a blueberry muffin in, like, you know, the form of a cupcake. And he was like, "But that's just a cupcake. Without frosting."
Mm-hmm. So basically what I just found out is that because the doctor got his ass kicked, he was out of the way of the explosion.
Pretty much, yeah. Edis punched him so hard that he flew back across
I like
the
how
cave.
I like how in pretty much every story in this season the doctor almost dies, like in very close ways. And then in the last one he actually does.
I wonder
like-
if that was on purpose or just coincidence.
I don't know, because like Invasion of the Dinosaurs, he almost gets killed by a dinosaur because of Mike Yates. And then Death to the Daleks, he almost gets shot by a Dalek at the end of part 1. And then in this story, we had this explosion. And I'm pretty sure in the Time Warrior there's also another example, but I can't remember what it is.
I feel like the doctor almost.
Oh no,
dies.
I remember now. He almost got killed by a Sontaran, and then Sarah pushed him out the way. It has to be on purpose.
That's what the doctor used to say. There's always a chance that while there's life,
Okay, yeah, it's on purpose. You just heard that line, right?
Absolutely, it's on purpose. Uncle Terrence is foreplaying us.
Uncle Terry knows what's going to happen. No!
Was he been killed?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Oh, so it really backfired.
Ortron is dead. Damn, look at that ass!
This fucking sourdough is very delicate.
You want to know something really fucking lame?
What?
Every time I eat pita bread, I feel like I'm eating elven bread from Lord of the Rings, and I only bring that up because you're from New Zealand.
Well, that's just racism.
Yes? Yes, it is.
That bread was not as good as I thought it would be.
Aw, what the hell? What was not good about it?
It didn't mix well with the soup.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I think this bit of my pita is underdone. And it came packaged.
What I really
you know
want,
I'm
what I
saying?
really
So
want,
that's even more disappointing.
what I really want is
Huh?
what I really want is like a nice curry and some naan. That'd be great.
Oh, dude, curry and naan. Fuck yeah, bro. What type of curry, though?
I like a whole bunch of them. I like butter chicken. I like masala. I like there's a spicy one I like. I can't remember what it's called.
Vindaloo?
Yeah, not that one, but I have had vindaloo before. It does make me. It gives me the shits.
I like butter chicken, tikka masala, vindaloo. Korma's also nice.
Oh yeah, I've had that one. Yeah, I know Dylan likes jalfrezi.
I like jalfrezi as well. It's not my favorite, though. You can't go wrong with, like, a nice chicken tikka masala curry, though. I think there might be some curry powder in this hummus.
I can see why like a New Who fan would not like this story. Because it's
But,
not.
like, if you're
It's
a
not
New
like.
Who fan who's
It's not.
seen-
It's like. It's not very focused on the themes, is it?
Most of Classic Who isn't, though.
That's true.
I think the reason I prefer Classic Who over New Who in general. It's just because Classic Who's focus is more on, let's have a fun adventure this week, whereas New Who's focus is more on purposeful story arcs, which is fine. Like, I like TV shows that, you know, have overarching stories. You can't do an anthology show without a bit of that every now and then, but I think it comes down to this discussion we had off camera one time, where I like it to be subtle and not overbearing, and New Who feels like slightly overbearing in its character development and calculated plot points sometimes. I guess what I'm saying is it doesn't feel like it happens naturally. It feels like someone was definitely behind the scenes planning this to happen this specific way. Whereas when character development in Classic Who happens, it sort of just happens as a result of the adventuring the Doctor does every day.
Right. Well, the reason why I prefer Classic Who is because Stephen Moffat, like, overcooks his stories and Christian will undercooks his stories. That's it.
I mean, there's also that. There's also the fact that the story arcs aren't particularly well done, aside from RTD. Yeah, Dylan will probably skewer me for this, but I actually really, really like what RTD did with the show. Just like
Right.
overall.
Because he's fucking brilliant. I don't know how to say anything more than that. He's just such a good writer. I know it's
He
like
is!
not. I know it's something like I know it's not the same as Classic Who, but that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, no, it's not. Although I would prefer Modern Who be closer to Classic Who, the first few seasons of New Who aren't bad. They're just different. But I've always had this sort of like idea that they are not the same show. Classic Who and New Who, though they share the title Doctor Who, aren't really the same thing.
Yeah, they're made for very different audiences and very different purposes and very different times. Like, TV changed a lot between 89 and 2005.
Especially sci-fi television, because a lot of shows like Star Trek started to do heavy storylines with like Deep Space Nine and all that bullshit. And then, though it's not remembered today, Babylon 5 was a pretty big sci-fi show back in the day. It starts off like Star Trek and then immediately goes into really heavy shit. Oh, dude, I just realized something really cool. So you know how before, when she was ruling without Ezekiel around, she had a crown on?
Yeah.
And now that Ezekiel is in command, she's taken it off?
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. It is like shows a really nice attention to detail.
There is your loyalty.
Ooh. I love how Sarah has helped shift this character and her attitude.
Do you see why I like this story?
Because
'Cause
women's
apparently
rights, that's why.
nobody else does. You know, I just realized I missed an opportunity earlier. When Ortron died, I should have made a call back to the penile cancer joke.
That's what Lord Slaw turns into when Bob Rushy says that the end of time's better than Inferno.
Do you like the end of time, Connor?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not
Because
perfect.
I don't
perfect.
hate it.
It's not perfect. The plot has a lot of issues, but I think the character drama is excellent.
I like a lot of the Wilf and 10 scenes like as standalone scenes, but overall I think the End of Time is like a really slow, boring mess. I don't
Well,
hate it though.
I think, removing my own affection for it, I think it is a mixed bag.
I shall be ruler of Earth.
He kind of looks like a really young Tom Baker.
I think he looks like James Buckley. I genuinely do.
You know what else I like? That he isn't like over the top cackling. I like that he just sounds like a normal dude. Like reasonable and not like overly angry. I think that was a really good way to play it.
So that was part 5. This story is like, it's just disappearing in front of me. I keep... It's almost like it hasn't even happened. And we're already on part 6. Like it's... I've such... I don't know what to feel about it, because it's like, there's a lot of padding in it, but it's fun to watch. So I don't really mind, but then also the parts that are really good are really good.
So then, if the padding is worth watching because it's fun, and then the important bits are really, really good, what the fuck is the issue?
Well, the thing is, it's not a badly written story. I think it's just structurally fucked, if you get what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
I mean...
Like the cards,
I guess,
like the cards on the tower are good cards, but the actual tower itself is weirdly built.
But I think the tower still manages to stand up.
Yeah,
even if it is precariously balanced.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's an odd story. It's just like the actual plot is good. It's just the structure is so odd. It's so weird.
I'm gonna change angles again.
Like there's
done eating.
Like there's so much stuff in the story that's completely unnecessary, but I still like it. I still enjoy watching it. Yeah, I don't know. This is like, out of all the Pertwee stories, this is probably the one that I don't know. I'm the most like unsure on how I feel. Because like the critic in me wants to be a bit harsh on it, but then like the fan in me wants to love it.
I love it. Like, I fully recognize that maybe it's not, like... Maybe it could have done with another draft, you know what I'm saying? But like,
yeah, it does feel a bit rushed. I think...
Regardless, I still really like it.
I think you could have either, like, polished up the filler to be a bit more purposeful, or you could have maybe cut it down a part, like you could have had it be a 5-parter. I'm not 100% sure if that would actually work with the pacing or anything, but...
Well, a lot of part 3 you could probably cut out.
And maybe a bit of part 2. Maybe. And possibly a bit of part 5, actually. Possibly.
I don't know, but even then, in some of the padding is stuff that's, like, important to the story.
That's true, actually.
It doesn't seem like it's going to be important until, like, part 5.
Oh, yeah, no, of course. I understand that it is important. That's not the padding I'm talking about. It's everything else. Like, every time that they have to get through a door or they go into a prison, it's just like, did we really need that? I mean,
Shall we?
Yeah, obviously I have to see how this resolves, but I think my impression of it right now is that it's a good story that could have been a great story with another draft. That's sort of what I'm heading towards here.
I like it as is, but there are issues with it that could have been solved with another draft.
I almost feel like you could have made this a 4-parter and you could have made Death to the Daleks a 6-parter.
Oh no, I would have slit my wrists if Death to the Daleks was 6 parts.
Well, the thing is with Death to the Daleks is that I feel like there was a lot of unrealized potential that could have been done with fleshing out.
I'm not sure about that one, Chief. So, everyone is like, oh, Death to the Daleks is the one that gets a bad rep, but it's actually good. Of course, I'm the motherfucker who's like, nah, Death to the Daleks is shit. Monster of Peladon deserves more praise, bruh.
I suppose I'm a centrist in that regard, because I like both stories so far. But I think both of them have structure issues. Death to the Daleks doesn't have enough time to flesh out its world and its characters, and this has...
Too much time.
Too much time, yeah. Did they just kill those ice warriors?
I just want to point out that this is the man who never would.
Is this the first time he's killed someone that isn't an Ogron? Like the Third Doctor specifically?
I don't know. Is the Ogron the first time the Third Doctor kills someone?
I think so.
Nah, because he straight up murks the Nestine.
Oh, that's not a person.
It's still a creature, though, and the Doctor's all like...
The Nestine's,
bruh.
The Nestine's a hive mind.
I suppose that's true. Kill one and another one just pops up. It doesn't matter.
I do like how there's this whole, like, religious cult that's come around this one monster from Curse of Peladon. You know? I think that is... I do think that's cool.
I like that he's slightly off and just makes them wait. Wouldn't it be funny if he just fucking died right there?
And then John Pertwee brings out, like, a list and he, like, puts a tick on it.
Oh no! Sarah, he's superimposing tinfoil on us, Sarah!
Oh dear.
It's colorful now.
Oh dear. Thick boys around. You think this ice warrior has penile cancer? That was
Don't
like
make fun of Joey like that, you sack of shit.
That was like an idle animation in a game. I mean, this whole story feels like a video game with, like, cutscenes. Like, all the scenes with Queen Peladon are, like, cutscenes, and then this is the game part.
I really like Azaxir because he's all talk and then is just completely fucking useless when it comes down to it. It's really funny. John Pertwee's just in there going... This motherfucker.
Ooh.
That looks like it hurt.
I like how they brought back the same effect from the Seeds of Death. I just wish I had the same noise. Unless it sounds like a wasp in your ear in Seeds of Death. Like... He's foaming at the mouth.
He's so sweaty.
Yeah. He's like a action figure in a microwave.
Don't do it. Don't let your guard down.
Ah, you fool. You fool! Oh!
You could say he wasn't quick enough on the draw.
Mm-hmm.
Tell your men to lay down their arms, or the Queen will die.
This is exactly like Curse of Peladon. This exact same scene from the end of Curse of Peladon. Ah.
Do the Ice Warriors end up holding King Peladon
It's not the Ice Warriors that do it, but it's the same scene. No! No! Don't die!
Fucking Alpha Centauri, man.
I think the actor who plays Alpha Centauri inside the suit is fantastic at all the motions. It's so distinct.
Yeah, I agree.
You can tell you can tell the way it's feeling despite the fact that it's a static suit.
Right.
Oh, rest in peace.
What do you mean, rest in peace? He was a cunt.
No, but I like my Ice Warriors.
I like my Ice Warriors too, but he's a bitch Ice Warrior.
Oh no! Alpha Centauri.
I shall summon assistance! Look at all that chin sweat.
Oh, Elizabeth Sladen's just so good. That's really good foreshadowing, though, because in the next story it actually happens.
Yeah. Aww. On one hand, that's really funny. On the other hand, like, I feel so bad for Alpha Centauri, man.
Such a delicate thing. Ooh! Ooh! Yes! I was not expecting that.
Shit. Oh, shit.
I want Dudley Simpson to play some boss music now. Oh. No.
Dude, the first time I watched this and that happened, I legitimately just shouted, "What the fuck, bro?" I was so upset.
Goodbye, Doctor.
That's nice, though, because the last time they were there, they just fucked off without saying goodbye.
She knew. David Troughton was her dad. He told her.
I'd hate to stand in the way of your career.
In you go.
Jesus Christ.
Well, what are your thoughts, Connor?
Okay, so let me outline my thoughts on the Monster of Peladon. So basically, parts 1, 4, and 6 are excellent. Parts 2, 3, and 5 are okay, like just okay. That kind of puts it in perspective, I think. Like it's there's a good story in there, but like some of the structure is just so odd. And to be fair, to its credit, a lot of that filler that is in there I do enjoy. It is quite fun for the most part, but I do think that you could have, with another draft and a bit of a restructure, you could have made something more out of this story. However, it certainly does not belong on this list. Like, it shouldn't be there.
So why is it there, might I ask?
Because it's ranked near the bottom of the DWM ranking in 2014.
Oh, what the fuck? Seriously?
Yeah, I'll find it for you if you want, so you can know where
I knew it was gonna be some bullshit like that. But, like, it's not that bad.
No, it's not that bad. The structure is a bit, like, you know, it's weird, but it's not terrible.
It's an enjoyable story. I don't understand why people don't like it so much.
Let's see where it ranks. So, out of 241 stories, because remember this was 2014 when it came out.
Right.
Out of 241 stories, it is 216.
Oh, that is way too low.
Yeah, it's just one spot above Delta and the Bannerman.
What the fuck? That's too high for Delta and the Bannerman. Are you fucking shitting me?
Yeah, man, the Web Planet is below Delta and the Bannerman. That's crazy.
DWM poll results do not fucking matter.
Oh, absolutely. I fucking agree. Most of the stuff that's in the bottom 20, I actually like. So, but yeah, no, this is a really unpopular story. I suppose I can see why, but I don't necessarily agree. I do like this story. It could be better, but I do like it on the whole.
I don't see why. It does, even with all its faults, like, you can acknowledge them, but they do not amount to, like, what? bottom 30 of all Doctor Who. Are you fucking shitting me?
Yeah, definitely not. Like,
If anything, this should be like somewhere in the middle of the list.
yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, it's a weird story. Like, it's got a very strange, like, supercharged breakneck pace, and that makes it like enjoyable in like a surface level way. But it's also very strangely like unnecessarily that way. Like, it's almost like, why is it like that? Why is it so fucking fast? Like, I think maybe they were
I like that it's fast.
I was just thinking, like, maybe they were a bit worried that because it was 6 parts, people might not enjoy it too much. They just threw so much in there to keep the story going, and I suppose that does work for entertainment value. But in terms of plot, like I said, like, only half the episodes I think actually use the time brilliantly. Like, parts 1, 4, and 6 are the only ones that I think really nail it, whereas parts 2, 3, and 5 just feel a bit jumbled. But it's a good story. I like how it's a sequel to Curse. I like how they use events that happen in Curse and things that were in Curse to this advantage, like how Agadorth grew a religion around him, and that had that whole group of people. And then you got the fact that the daughter of King Peladon is now in charge. But in this society, it's a very male-dominated culture, and therefore, despite the fact that she is technically the queen, her male assistant was the one that was actually making a lot of the decisions. But then, of course, with Sarah Jane's influence, she changed. And I really liked that character development. I thought that was really well done. I also really liked the performance. I thought she was really well done by her performance. And actually, I think probably one of the best parts of this story for me was probably Sarah Jane. I thought Elizabeth Sladen did a really good job in her role in this. And then again, like, Alpha Centauri was fun. And the Ice Warriors were badass. This is definitely a return to villain form. I think the Ice Warriors are a lot more like aggressive, and they were less complex than they were in Curse of Peladon. I think maybe you could have added a little bit more dimension to that. I think you maybe could have had a storyline where the Doctor remembers them from last time and trusts them at first, but then it turns out that they have a plan. And then, like, for example, say if they did that, you could then have people in authority in the situation start to, like...
I disagree with that, actually, because I almost like the idea that the Doctor is inherently racist to the Ice Warriors.
Like, despite the fact that he saw them last time and they weren't bad.
Yeah, it's... I don't know, there's something about... And it's illustrated in, you know, the next Peladon story, which is a Virgin novel, is that the Doctor, no matter what, when he sees an Ice Warrior, is just, like, disgusted. And they actually talk about that.
Interesting. Well, that is true. You could do that, yeah. But I was also...
It's a really interesting angle.
Yeah, I was also just going to say, though...
from.
If you hadn't done that, and he did trust them at first, you could have had a situation where you could have had the people of Peladon, or just people in this whole circle in general, start to question the Doctor because he trusted these Ice Warriors, but their intentions are bad, and they could have said, well, you trusted them, therefore you must be part of their plan. And he's like, no, trust me, I didn't know. Like, you could have done something like that.
The story would be 8 parts, then.
Yeah, true. But yeah, and then, like, obviously they return to the same world. I like all the sets, I like the costumes. It's very chaotic. It's not as, like... Because Curse of Peladon's very focused, it's all very, like, slick, and it's quite deliberate, whereas this story isn't at all. Like, it's... It doesn't stop. Like, it's just a bunch of... Well, I mean, I suppose that kind of works, because this is meant to be a war in Peladon, and the sense of, like, this is the thing that in Curse of Peladon they were trying to avoid, and now it's happening, and I do like that element of it as a lot as well.
I agree.
Yeah. So I do think this is a solid story, I just think it could have been a bit better. On the whole, that would be my overall thoughts, I suppose.
So... which story do you prefer, Curse or this one?
Oh, Curse by far. Like, Curse of Peladon's one of my favorite stories ever. Like, it wasn't going to come close.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, like, Curse of Peladon's like a 10 out of 10 for me. I fucking adore Curse of Peladon.
See, I prefer Monster of Peladon.
I mean...
Which is, like, a really terrible opinion to have, and you're gonna get, like, 4 different comments on here at least being like, what the fuck?
I think that's more of a statement on your thoughts on Curse rather than Monster, because I think we do agree a lot on Monster. I think it's more of a case of you just not really liking Curse that much. That might be the reason.
Pretty much. Like, I acknowledge that Curse is a well-written story. It's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, I have that with some stories. Like, fucking... There's stuff in, like, Series 5 of New Who that's... You know, it's, like... Craft-wise and, like, talking about just writing, like, it's not bad. I just don't give a shit about it. Like, stuff like the Angel two-parter and the Pandora opens Big Bang, like... Those are stories that, like, there's not that many issues with the writing. It's just, I just don't care about them at all. Like, I just feel nothing towards them. And
yeah, I just don't really care about Curse of Peladon. Like, every other Peladon story, I like 1,000 times better than Curse.
Interesting, because most people would say Curse is by far the best one.
A lot of people would say Curse is the only good one. The only one that the only Peladon story, because obviously I'm including the EU when I say this, the only Peladon story that I'm not a huge fan of is The Bride of Peladon.
Okay. What's the one that comes after this one in the EU?
Okay, so I think there are 5 Peladon stories. So it goes Curse, Prisoner, Monster, Legacy, and Bride.
Okay. Well then. But yeah, on the whole, I do like Monster Peladon. I think that might be a controversial opinion. I know some people say it's a bad story, so, well, there you go.
Well, my opinion outweighs yours as far as controversial opinions goes, because I actually prefer it to the other Peladon story.
Anyway.
I win, bitch.
Obviously, it is written by Brian Hales, who is a very... has written a lot of Doctor Who stories. Like Brian...
Very all over the place as far as a writer.
Yeah, because Brian Hales did the Celestial Toymaker, and then they did the Smugglers, and then the Ice Warriors, the Seeds of Death, the Curse of Peladon, the Monster Peladon, and then in audio they did
Lords of the Red Planet.
Well, they did the Dark Planet, the Queen of Time, and the Lords of the Red Planet.
What the fuck is with this man's track record, bro? Who is this guy?
Yeah, I can see why the Curse of Peladon and the Monster Peladon is something that this guy would have come up with, because obviously he had experience doing the Smugglers, so he does have the territory of the historical stories, and the Peladon stories are kind of like historical stories, but not on Earth, if that makes sense.
Right. Actually, that's a really good way of describing them. I like that.
Yeah, yeah, and the Curse of Peladon is almost like Brian Hales doing like a John Lucarotti historical in another planet. Whereas the Monster of Peladon is more like fucking Dennis Spooner historical on another planet, if you get what I'm saying.
I was just going to say, he said, okay, he's going to make the John Lucarotti and Dennis Spooner comparison here. Yep. It is like that. It really is.
Yeah.
But overall, I think I prefer a lot of Dennis Spooner's stuff to John Lucarotti's, so... It still falls in line with my taste.
I love both of them, but for different reasons.
I like some of John.
I think John Lucarotti is one of those writers. He's one of those very few writers where I can take his stuff dead serious, and like it actually works. Whereas with Dennis Spooner, it's a mix of really, really captivating drama, but also a lot of fun as well.
I mean, the Romans is one of my favorite Cardinals.
Yeah, of course. Of course. But then you think about, like, with John Lucarotti, stuff like Marco Polo, The Massacre, and The Aztecs. I can take those stories, like, dead serious, if I want to.
I like The Massacre a lot.
Even though The Aztecs has a lot of comedy in it, I could still take the core of the story seriously.
Scratching my back, boys. Sorry about the closeness.
But yeah, I thought Brian Hales was... mixed in this one. He on the whole, he did really well. It was a really good like central plot to the story. I just think the structure needed another It needed another draft. Like it just needed to be cleaned up a bit. But he certainly made it exciting. I'll say that much.
Yeah, one of the reasons I like this story is that although there's a lot of going in circles, it doesn't necessarily feel like it's going in circles on a surface level, and it doesn't get tiring.
Yeah, although I will say, to be honest, in a couple of spots he does the Terry Nation thing of recycling things he'd already done. I do think there is some truth to that.
Yeah.
But in terms of the direction, it was Lenny Main, who also did Curse of Peladon, so I like they got back the same director so they could have that consistency of like visual style.
I like that the set design is the same.
Yeah.
That's what I really like about it, is the set looks like Peladon from the first story.
And I think that instantly got me sucked me back into the world, like where I was the last time I was there. I think that really worked.
Right, because I made this comparison earlier on, but I'll make it again. With a lot of Doctor Who stories where you go to the same planet a second time, the planet looks completely different from its first appearance.
Oh, I mean, you look at... I mean, technically, there's a reason for this, but you look at, like, New Earth and Gridlock, they could not look more different.
Or, like I said earlier, Genesis of the Daleks and the Daleks. Also, like, combine that with...
What about, like...
Which is familiar in Magician's Apprentice.
Yeah, what about, like, the Five Doctors and Hellbent?
Yeah, exactly. Like, they're not the same planet.
They also did the Three Doctors in the Hand of Fear, so I can see similarities in the direction style between all four of those stories. They're very good at, like, close-ups, I find. Lenny Main.
I don't know, there are a couple crash zooms on Sarah in this one that kind of reminded me of Trial of a Time Lord, but I guess it's not that bad.
Unfortunately, Lenny Main drowned in 1977.
Jesus fuck! What?
Yeah. It was a boating accident, and they were using it dinghy on the English Channel with two other yachtsmen, and they were capsized by a freak wave.
Holy fuck. Wow.
That's why the Hand of Fear was their last one.
That's depressing.
Yeah.
Damn.
They were born in Australia. So they're an Australian. And the music was done by Dudley Simpson. I mean, again, it's similar to other Dudley Simpson scores, which can get a bit samey, but I thought it was really cool. I especially loved the bit where he was doing the Venusian lullaby on Agadorth, and it started playing this like round bass, and it kind of really captured the sort of what was happening to Agadorth in the scene. I really liked that moment.
Straight out of Curse of Peladon, though.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, overall, I thought the Dudley Simpson score was really solid.
Interesting take, because I didn't notice anything about it that was particularly different from any other Dudley Simpson score.
It wasn't as standout as Carrie Blyton's one in Death to the Daleks, though. That one was...
Carrie Blyton's scores always stand out because they're surrounded by Dudley Simpson scores, so the sudden whiplash of the change in instruments is really weird.
I love the Daleks theme in that story. It's so silly.
Like, I love the soundtrack to Revenge of the Cybermen, even though Revenge of the Cybermen is shit. The soundtrack's great.
I haven't seen it in about 4 years, but I remember enjoying it.
It'll be on this watch list, right? It should be.
Oh, absolutely. Well, not on the Worst of Classic Who. I'm only doing stories I haven't seen before, apart from Paradise Towers, which I haven't seen since 2013. But I can't remember what happens. But Revenge of the Cybermen...
what's the next one you've got lined up for?
Underworld.
Ah, you've never seen Underworld?
No, but I'm watching it with Antonio. Apparently he likes it.
Oh, dude. The first time I watched Underworld, I got so bored that I actually turned it off and, like, had a wank break. true story. I'm not even fucking shitting you. That's how bored I was.
Well, I mean, when Will and Hugh watched it again, they got it on because they were so bored.
Yeah, I turned it off and I was like, "Fuck this! I'm gonna go.
I'm looking forward
masturbate and come back and finish it."
I'm looking forward to the bit where apparently the Doctor tries to fly as he's falling.
See, I made the mistake. I made the mistake of not just letting it play while I was doing my business, man. So, like, when I was done, I had to come back and finish it, you know?
Anyway, are you ready for some trivia, Brian?
Sure.
Apart from that bit of trivia, that was very important to know.
It was very important to know.
Um,
Now you know that two of your friends have orgasmed during Underworld.
Maybe Antonia has as well, but for different reasons. Anyway. This is the last appearance of the Ice Warriors on screen for 39 years. They've obviously returned in Cold War after the
Right.
Series 7. Apparently, the handmaiden of Tharlira is played by Frances Pigeon, who is the wife of the director. This is, oh my god, this is the stupidest bit of trivia ever. This is the last story not to feature the Fourth Doctor until Fort of Doomsday. Fuck off. It's such a stupid bit of trivia. It's so obvious.
It's true, but, like, who gives a shit?
Apparently, this story was originally going to be different with Joe Grant in it. Because obviously it was going to... The idea was that it was going to take place with King Peladon still alive, and it would be Joe Grant returning to see him again. But of course, because it's Sarah Jane, they decided to cut out King Peladon.
Right, that was probably a good move. Not sure how this story would have worked with King Peladon in it. They could have done something really cool, like King Peladon be an old man and Joe still be the same age.
Give your conclusion and a rating out of 10 for the Monster of Peladon, Brian.
Oh, dude. Like, this is so shit, because, like, unlike your friend, Callum, I go on, like, a completely subjective side of the spectrum. Like, everything I judge is not based off of objectivity whatsoever. So, for me, just like the sheer enjoyment factor I get from this, it's an easy 10 of 10.
Really?
I love it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I love this story.
Okay. Alright then, Brian. You could have that. 10 out of 10 for Monster Peladon. I'm looking forward to hearing what people think of that. Although, to be fair, Mason...
nobody agrees with me. Nobody agrees with me.
Yeah. The thing is, me and Mason had a similar thing with the Time Monster, so more power to you.
If you choked my cock and, like, were like, give it a specific rating based off of an objective opinion, I'd probably say, like, a 7.
God. Anyway, let's not think about that. So, the Monster Peladon, it has great parts in it. There are I'd say about half of it I really, really, really liked. Specifically parts 1, 4, and 6. Parts 2, 3, and 5 were fun filler with a chaotic and breakneck pace. It's got a lot of schlock in it. It's fun, it's wild, it's kind of unnecessary, it's a bit derivative, but it's still good. My opinion on this story is very similar to my opinion on the Sea Devils, and so I'm going to give the same rating out of 10 that I would that story, and that is a 7.5. Now that we have done that, I think it's about time that we defend a New Who story against Hellbent.
We're just saying this is better than Hellbent, right?
Oh, of course. Absolutely, Monster Peladon's better than Hellbent.
Okay, so we're fucking saying Suranga Conundrum is better than Hellbent.
Yeah, I was just about to get to that.
Right? Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out the paragraph that was given to me by the Who Society, who is the one that suggested it, and then we will respond in off that and describe why we think that it's better than Hellbent.
So someone's actually gonna counterpoint why they think it's worse than Hellbent. Okay, I see.
Yes, so let's get into it. So, the Who Society has said, whilst being a completely different story to Hellbent, the Saranga conundrum fails in so many ways, it's damn right drivel. We are treated to an hour of faceless nobodies running around and failing to interact in an already illogical and unoriginal plot that is just vomited up into a huge schizophrenic mess. It's ugly, ill-conceived, and gimmicky. Even Adam's family stopped watching the show after this story. That's one of my friends, Adam. They actually did stop watching Doctor Who after the Saranga conundrum. And despite the fact that they had watched since the 1960s. Overall, it's a real lackadaisical story that fails to engage the viewer in the slightest. And whilst Hellbent is pretty much all of the above, it's visually captivating and features some superb performances which Saranga does not have. And shows that the tiniest slight bit of confidence, despite still the overall outcome being a highly offensive slice of Doctor Who. Okay, maybe on par it's a tough one. I'd like to see what you guys think. Well, Brian, I know you aren't as hard on Saranga Conundrum as most people are. Did you want to give your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you know that just based on my reaction from when it came out. I don't hate Saranga Conundrum. I don't particularly like it, but I can sit down and mindlessly enjoy it. Like, it is a messy story. I'm not going to lie. It is a bit of a fucking mess. But overall, like, ignoring like the overcomplicated stuff, it's a sound enough plot. It's not, you know, other than there's like a bunch of extra shit that doesn't need to be there. It's a relatively just sort of standard self-contained, almost base under siege plotline. Like the Doctor and Co. And
The Doctor and Fam.
Huh?
The Doctor and Fam, more like.
The Doctor and her fam end up... I can't remember how they end up there. Some bullshit. But they end up on this spaceship that has a pregnant man on it. The pregnant man is kind of superfluous to the actual events of the story. And I think it's like a medical ship or something. That's why there's a pregnant man on it. Anyway, so there's this thing called the Pting, and it looks really cute and adorable, but is actually like really nasty and deadly, and can basically eat everything ever. It's like eating the ship, which isn't good. So the Doctor and fam have to find a way to stop it. And, you know, for the most part, the story follows that line of events. That's what happens. That's the story summed up. There's nothing really wrong with that. Maybe some of the dialogue is cringe, but other than that...
Yeah, there's some pretty bad dialogue.
As a story, it is structurally sound, and there isn't an issue with it.
Okay.
Like, don't they just end up tossing the Pting out of an airlock? Like,
yeah, it's
like, a really simple solution, but I mean, it works.
I mean, I think the Saranga Conundrum is a really bad story. Like, the execution is just so dire. However, what I will say for it is there are two things I will give it. Firstly, unlike Hellbent, it doesn't do damage to the lore of the show. It doesn't pretend to be something that it's not. It's just an honest kind of shit story. Whereas Hellbent is very, very pretentious and very bad for the show. The other thing is, I do quite like the idea of the Pting. I like the idea of a base under siege where there's a monster who's eating a ship from the inside out and seeing if the vacuum of space will kill all the people inside it. I think that's a really good idea. Now, to be fair, the execution is pretty awful because they don't do any of the things they could have done. It just becomes this, like, run around with really terrible exposition and, like, a lot of, like, derivative countdown timers and Just poor dialogue, poor characters, poor direction. Like everything on the execution level is poor. But I think there is an idea in there that could have made a really good episode, whereas I can't see any way to frame the hybrid and make it good. It's just fundamentally a bad idea.
The closest comparison I can think of as far as the Suranga conundrum goes in classic Who is Terror of the Vervoids. It's just kind of a shit story that uses a relatively nice and albeit overdone format from the show.
What I will say in the defense of Terror of the Vervoids, though, is that at least it's charming. Like, it has fun characters and fun dialogue and some really good direction, apart from the green screen. But
I mean, that's true.
The Saranga Conundrum...
But even then, like, the comparison holds true. They're both kind of shit, and they both use like a formula that is well tested and tried, and still
I think
to be...
I think the funny thing is, the irony of that is that Chris Chibnall hates Terror of the Vervoids.
That's a good. Damn, I guess I just kind of roasted his ass without even trying.
Yeah. But the funny thing is, I actually vastly prefer Terror of the Vervoids over the Saranga Conundrum, because I actually think it's fun.
See, I don't. They're like the same thing for me.
Like I really enjoy like the 80s camp element. I really enjoy Colin Baker. Whereas Jodie just does nothing for me in the Saranga Conundrum. She's just generic doctor. To be fair, she's like that a lot in Series 11, but in Saranga Conundrum, there's a lot of focus put on her, and she just doesn't fill that gap with anything at all. I suppose there's one moment where someone like talks about like her track record or something, and she's just like, she does a little remark about like, oh yeah, I've done a lot of things or something like that. Like, that was cool, but apart from that, she's just an exposition machine.
Neither of those stories do a whole lot for me, but both of them are nowhere near as bad as Hellbent. Although I still hold to the fact that I don't think Hellbent itself is the worst Doctor Who story out there. It's pretty fucking bad and pretty low on my list. Yeah, both of those stories that I just mentioned, I didn't mean to rope Terror of the Vervoids into this, but let's just toss Terror of the Vervoids out the bin and assume I'm talking about both stories. Neither of them, like, fundamentally harm the show, whereas Hellbent does.
You can forget the Saranga Conundrum exists and it won't change anything. Whereas with Hellbent, it's like you can't forget it exists because it affects things that are in the show.
Right. And, like, that's not to say that... At the same time, that's also not to say that just because it doesn't affect things outside of it, that means it isn't worthy of, you know, being a shitter story than Hellbent. Like, my least favorite Doctor Who story of all time is Delta and the Bannermen, and cut that out of season 24 and you're still not really missing much. It's just that shit, in my opinion. Yeah, Saranga Conundrum doesn't, like... It isn't... I don't think it's even as bad as it isn't even comparable to something like Delta and the Bannermen for me. Like, it's just, there's a lot of Doctor Who that's shit, and Saranga Conundrum is just another story in the sea of shit Doctor Who stories that just, you know, doesn't particularly stand out to me as that bad.
Well, if I was to make a comparison between those two stories you just mentioned, like Delta and the Bannerman is like the same level of shit as Saranga Conundrum, but I get a sort of weird, so bad that it's good chaos out of it. Whereas with the Saranga Conundrum, there's no so bad that it's good element to it for me. It's just so boring. It's just so boring. And
for me, what I hate about Delta and the Bannermen is, because, yeah, let's use my least favorite Doctor Who story as an example, is the way it handles the Seventh Doctor. I think is like the most piss poor execution of it. Sylvester McCoy isn't good in that story at all.
He does have
And
one.
that's like
He does have one good scene, but it's
he does have one good scene,
but it's unfortunately
overall
it's
he's not good in that story.
unfortunately
like, the performance is
it's ruined by the very next moment after it though.
yeah, and even then, like as far as like speeches go, fucking that is one of Sylvester McCoy's weakest.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like, you know, a story is shit if the lead actor has checked out of it. Is what
I think it's kind of crazy how like your least favorite story and your favorite story are like 2 slots away from each other.
Yeah, Cartmel fixed some shit in that little gap. I'm telling you, man. He was like,
Or
fuck, season
Dragonfly.
24 was a misstep. Let's go in the opposite direction.
Anyway, that we're getting off topic, but yeah, I do hate the Saranger Conundrum personally, but I don't think it's quite as bad as Hellbent because it's more inoffensive to me than Hellbent.
I'd say I hate Hellbent. I dislike the Saranger Conundrum. I don't like the Saranger Conundrum, but I'm not like that bothered by it because like really it's, you know, if we're gonna sit here and say Saranger Conundrum is the worst Doctor Who story, then by extension, fucking, I don't know, The Invisible Enemy is the worst Doctor Who story. Like there's so much other shit to be this fucking sucks, I hate it attitude about in Doctor Who that Saranger Conundrum just isn't worth the time, man. Whereas like Hellbent is.
You know what? For me, is like the Big Finish equivalent of the Saranger Conundrum. Fucking Destination Nerva, man. Jesus Christ, that thing is boring. Oh boy.
A lot of people like Destination Nerva, though.
I don't know why.
Yeah, it's kind of fucking shit, isn't it?
Yeah. Like
There's a character in there who even shares my last name.
Like it's probably, out of all the Big Finish I've heard, it's probably like my 3rd least favorite. It's that bad. Necromantia is the worst, then Prison in Space, and then Destination Nerva for me.
Oh, I still hate Bang Bang and Boom because it is basically Big Finish does a Delta in the Bannerman type story for shits and gigs, and like even though it's for shits and gigs, I hate it. I fucking hate it. Anything that tries to replicate that bullshit can go die in a hole.
Man, Shay Kelly is not gonna like you if he ever hears this.
He already knows, man. He already fucking knows.
Didn't he say that season 24 is his favorite season?
Yeah, and I fucking I screeched at him.
I think he just likes chaos.
24 is definitely that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Saranger Conundrum, Hellbent, not even a fucking, no, just no. Get the hell out of here. No.
Anyway, I think that's enough for the video, don't you reckon?
Do I sound that tired?
I don't know. I think we've exhausted a lot of our energy.
Monster of Peladon was an exciting story.
It was a good story. I liked it. It was a bit flawed, and I think it could have been a lot better, but it was alright. Probably my 2nd least favourite Pertwee as it currently stands. We'll have to see once I've seen Planet the Spiders again. But I still gave it a 7.5 out of 10.
Oh, I really like Planet of the Spiders.
I like some
not
of it.
Not as much as Monster of Peladon.
I like some of it. I like some of it, but not all of it. But we'll have to wait and see. I'll have to rewatch it and see what happens. I might like it a lot more this time round, but we'll have to wait. Thanks for coming on. You were an interesting guest, as always.
I just hate Doctor Who, bro. It's like, it's such a good perspective because all these people are like, oh no, this is the golden age of Doctor Who. And here I am just like, bro, it's all fucking shit. Shut the hell up.
For you, the Doctor Who has never had a golden age.
No, it never has.
Because you say that your favorite era is the Aiden and Charlie era, and even then you like dislike half the stories in that.
Yeah, it's like I love Doctor Who, but Doctor Who's fucking shit.
Well, I disagree, but anyway.
All of you need to get this into your heads. It's not worth it, man.
Well, I think I don't know how much people are going to trust someone who says the monster of Peladon's a 10 out of 10, but there we go.
Look, I just like what I like, okay?
Okay, anyway, thanks for watching. Next time is going to be Underworld with Antonio. I think that's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. Because Antonio is always fun, and he managed to get me to watch and like the Space Pirates. I hope he does the same with Underworld. I think that would be very special if he does.
Antonio, you fucking madman.
Anything else you want to say before we end, Brian?
Joey, you're a piece of shit.
Okay. Bye-bye.